Good afternoon, welcome. This is AFCON today, live on Joy 99.7 FM and on Joy Prime as well. Welcome to the show. And then there were four. After 24 teams started the Africa Cup of Nations, we are now down to the final four with 20 teams sent home. The last four standing: Nigeria, DR Congo, South Africa, and the host nation, Cote d'Ivoire. Today on the show, we'll tell you how all those four teams made it into the semi-final, which will now take place on Wednesday. It's a repeat of the 2000 semi-final when South Africa take on Nigeria. Both teams had completely different paths to the semi-final. South Africa, dramatic penalty shootout where their goalkeeper, Ronwen Williams, became a national hero. The first goalkeeper in the history of international competition to save 4 penalties in a single shootout. We'll tell you and play back how exactly he did it. Nigeria, on the other hand, well, they relied on the man they've relied on pretty much the whole competition, Ademola Lookman, yet again to power them into the last four. DR Congo's path was a little easier, dismissing Guinea by 3-1, but then saving the best for last. Cote d'Ivoire proving exactly what it means to have the proverbial 9 lives. A man down, a goal down. They rallied back into it, scored in the 90th minute to force extra time, and then scored deep into extra time to secure the victory. So now the question is, who will make that final on Sunday? The show is proudly brought to you by MTN. MTN everywhere you go. Thanks to everybody at MTN for supporting us here on AFCON today. Of course, my name is Fentuo, Fentuo. What we will do is take a really short break. When we come back, I've got just the right men to take us through that dramatic quarterfinal, or those dramatic quarterfinal fixtures from Friday and Saturday. This is AFCON today. We are on from now till 2 p.m. My name is Fentuo. Joining me today on the show, it's Atsu Tamakloe. Victor, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, friend.
You look nice.
Thank you.
You look very nice.
You look nice yourself.
Thank you very much. And then the most popular man in South Africa right now, the man who predicted that South Africa were going to get kicked out in the group stages, the man who said South Africa were going to the Africa Cup of Nations on excursion. Somehow they've ended in the top 4, and the South Africans absolutely love going back to the video to deal with teams. Stone Avenue is here with us this afternoon. Stone, you are very popular for all the wrong reasons in South Africa.
Well, South Africans, their excursion is going to be ended soon, so it's not. I mean, at the end of the day, someone else couldn't do it. Nigeria is going to do it, so it's all good. It's still the same thing, but still good.
Okay.
You don't want us to get to the finals?
Yeah, Nigeria, you said Nigeria. I remember the last time you played against South Africa, they kind of left a sour taste in your mouths.
You think they have a chance?
Why not? You didn't think they had a chance in the group stages.
We have the best centre-back in the competition.
Yeah, and they have the best goalkeeper. Go on. We can play. We can do this game all day.
Who said they have the best goalkeeper?
They have the better goalkeeper than you.
Because he saved 4 penalties?
And he also has 4 clean sheets.
And how many does our goalkeeper have?
He's not been tested.
That's not true. Against Angola, he was tested.
That's not testing.
He was tested. The one.
He was just standing in the corner.
No. Right position is important. As a goalkeeper, he was positioned at the right place and made the save. And to go down at that place, if it's on Nana, it's 1-0.
No wahala. Thank you, Stone. Welcome to the show. We'll talk about South Africa's journey, but I want to show you the 4 results from the quarterfinal fixtures from this weekend. Dramatic games started on Friday, of course, and there you see Nigeria beating Angola by 1-0, and that goal was scored by Ademola Lookman, who is proving himself to be a very reliable figure. He's got how many goals now? Three goals. He got 2 in the round of 16 and 1 in the quarterfinal.
Yeah,
a knockout
that takes
session.
him to the
More
exclusive
knockout
class.
goals in international competition than Cristiano Ronaldo. Fact. Now,
that is just uncalled for. That is just uncalled for at this point. That is an attack. That is an attack, and you'll be roasted by Ronaldo fans. Today is his birthday. He's 39 today, I'm just saying.
DR Congo, they beat Guinea by 3 goals to 1. It was a much more straightforward game than lots of people expected it to be. Jan Visa scored 1, and Maswaku scored an absolute blinder in that match. A free kick that buried and sent the Guineans home, who, by the way, have received some sort of a hero's welcome since going back home. It's unbelievable, the scenes in Conakry after Guinea went back home. Mali against Cote d'Ivoire. This provided drama aplenty. Drama aplenty. Mali were expected to beat Cote d'Ivoire because they played the majority of the match with a man advantage. Cote d'Ivoire had Kosunu got sent off in the 43rd minute. And then Mali scored the first goal. So a man down, a goal down. There was no chance for Cote d'Ivoire, was there? Wrong. There really was. 90th minute, Adingra Simon, trained here in Ghana at the Right to Dream Academy. He popped up with a very fortuitous finish in the 90th minute to send that into extra time. And then everybody's favorite player. Who doesn't like a last-minute extra time winner? Back in the day when we had the golden goal, that would have been sweeter, wouldn't it? Because there would have been no chance for that yellow card, that second yellow card. But later in the day, South Africa and Cape Verde 0-0 after 120 minutes. South Africa prevailing 2-1 on penalties, thanks to the heroics of their goalkeeper. We'll go through those games one by one. Begin with Nigeria and Angola. Stone, let me begin with you. Nigeria are progressing very steadily in this competition. The thing is, they haven't played any sort of exciting football, but they have been very efficient. Have they not, both in defense and even in the attacks? They don't need 1,000 chances to score 1 goal. And once Nigeria gets one, it seems it's game over.
So, you see, I think I was talking with someone earlier this week, and we were talking about the fact that the Nigerian coach, from the way he dresses, it tells you the kind of football he's going to play. Because the guy has this jean trouser on, and then he has the whole thing with a suit.
And a jacket.
It just looks unassuming. And then all of a sudden, he delivers this. But you look at the fact that before we came into this AFCON, a lot of Nigerians, including myself, said that we were not going to do anything. And the best part of the Nigerian team was the attack. And then all of a sudden, coming into this AFCON, he said, we're not going to go with 4, we're going to play 3 at the back, we're going to play, if we're defending with 5, if we're attacking, attack with the wing backs and all of that kind of stuff. And then it has moved Nigeria to the next dimension. And the whole thing is that, because people keep criticizing Osimhen that he has only 1 goal in the tournament. And I think 1 goal for the African Player of the Year is absolutely unacceptable, right? But the fact that he is there, he draws the defenders to himself, opening up space for Ademola Lookman, who to me is the best player at this AFCON right now. Because when you can step up at the big moments, when you can step up in the moment where your team needs you. I'm talking about you can score 1,000 goals at the group stage. Nsue had all those goals. 5 goals, wonderful, running around. Oh, he's the best player at 30-something. He changed from the right back. That's not what we're talking about. At the big stage, he missed a penalty. And then Ademola Lookman, scoring 3 goals, 2 goals against Cameroon, 1 goal against Angola, also has an assist from the group stages, making it 3 goals and 1 assist in this competition. Obviously, looks like the best player at this competition so far. But the fact that we could be able to handle the Angolan attack, you're looking at before they faced Nigeria, that was like the most feared attack at the tournament. In fact, when we got online, people were more scared of Angola than Cameroon. In fact, they were more scared of Angola than South Africa right now, because Angola posed that threat. They
play very fluid football.
You have Mabululu, and then you have all those guys coming in. Just Dala, who was the best player at the tournament before he went out. You had Gilberto on the right too, who could dribble and all of that, and Freddie, who was a very good passer. But at the end of the day, the Nigerian defense limited the whole thing. I think Angola had like maybe 2 or 3 clear chances. The ball that hit the bar.
They had good chances, to be fair.
Yeah, the ball that hit the bar, the corner kick chance, and all this kind of stuff. And the goalkeeper made some saves and all this kind of stuff. But they were able to limit Freddie, which was a very vital thing, because what Freddie had done for Angola over the group stage and all those he had made sure that people, you would think that, okay, let me just, leave this guy, and all of a sudden he's coming up with assists and all this kind of stuff. I think he has 3 assists at the tournament already. But Nigeria were able to limit the passes from Freddie, and then Justin Dala looked like a normal human being, which I was excited about, because this is a guy that once it comes on the pitch, 1 goal is guaranteed. But this time around, he looked like a normal human being. I think he didn't have a shot on target, so 0 shot on target from Dala, who was the best player at the tournament, highest rated player at the tournament at that
Prior
point.
to that, Nigeria.
Yeah, and then Mabololo had 1 shot on target. So between their front 3, they had 1 shot on target throughout the entire match, which is absolutely amazing.
Amazing. Great defending from Nigeria. We will get to Nigeria's defending very shortly. I want to take Atsu's thought on Angola. Look, when you watch that game, there's really not much you can fault Angola, because they played exactly the way they always played. They had chances, hit the crossbar or the upright. So they had some good chances. It just wasn't meant to happen.
I think the difference was just the temperament and also just how mean a defense Nigeria have got, because you can play that match 5-6 times. You won't get a worse performance from Cape Verde. And that's not to say they didn't play well. It was just a game where the Nigerians didn't give them too much. And the one occasion that they got in behind the defense, luck eluded them. The problem for me was that I thought they figured the Nigerian defense out a bit too late in the game. And so you saw a lot of these predictable movements, occupying the half spaces, but not necessarily stretching the Nigerian defense. And we'll get to the Nigerian defense a bit later on. One thing that I think, or I was surprised they didn't exploit, was the presence of Alexi Iwobi, right? If you have looked through all of Nigeria's matches and how opponents have fashioned out not chances, but openings, it's always around or with Alexi Iwobi. And I felt that, and it's not his fault, mainly because...
What's the problem with him?
He doesn't have the instincts.
So his defensive awareness is
it doesn't exist, because that's not his education.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the muscle memory. So when Alassane Youssef, Francis Onyeka, or even Joel Aribo, when they are in that zone and they see a defender or the opponent with possession, they can anticipate what the opponent is going to do and respond appropriately even before it is done. Even when they fail to anticipate it, they can react well. And when we get to the video, we'll show you aspects of Alexi Iwobi's game that better opponents may exploit.
Okay, very well. Actually, let's do that. Let's get to the touch screen. Please, kindly come here for me.
Yeah.
We get to the touch screen. Stone, if you just sit here. Much better. All right, we're going to look at how Nigeria's defense is propelling them to this competition. You prepared something here to show us. Let's look at it. What have you got?
Now, for each tournament, teams evolve.
Yes.
The evolution sometimes happens by accident, or sometimes a eureka moment, a moment of epiphany, where the coach stumbles onto a new method or a way of playing. For Nigeria, it was the injury to Alassane Youssef. In his first game, a lot of people did not know him. Now, this guy got into the Nigerian team after the injury to Wilfred Ndidi.
Yes.
So Ndidi gets injured, Jose Peseiro looks around, there's a certain guy at Royal Antwerp, and then decides to bring him into the team. So late call-up into the team. This is a team that had been prepared without Alassane Youssef.
Right.
He didn't go to any of their pre-tournament games, the World Cup qualifiers. He didn't get the team. He didn't get the chance to train with the team. He just came in, final few training sessions after Ndidi's injury. In the first game, he took to life as a duck pulled to water. Brilliant performances. He kept the distribution very simple. And also, beyond providing the screen and being the link between midfield and attack, Nigeria created 6 chances in that game versus Equatorial Guinea. He created 1 of them.
So deep in midfield.
From deep in midfield. So this was a player who had shown himself to be someone who knew the task and quickly assimilated to the needs of the team and excelled on that first game. Unfortunately, he got injured. So Peseiro had to reshuffle the pack and introduce someone into the team. But unlike what most coaches have failed to do in this tournament, he did not only throw in a new player, he completely changed the way the team was set up and then changed the job description of the 2 midfielders in that team. And also how the team moved to ensure that those movements were synchronized. And we're going to show you here those synchronized movements and how important they have been for Nigeria. If you could quickly press play, right.
It's right in front of you.
So you are going to see here, Fence, press the back button for me. We may have to take the third.
This is the first video?
This is the first video. We're going to see here two phases of Nigeria's game.
Okay.
The defense that we spoke about, and then why, beyond the defense, when they get the ball, you can tell that they know what they are about in terms of how they move the ball from midfield to attack.
Okay.
Now, this is a foul that Nigeria have just given away. And this time, it's the former Chelsea defender who came in for, I think, Trustekon.
Okay.
Yes.
Omeru.
Kenneth Omeru. Now, this is important because this is supposed to be their makeshift backline. This is without their best defender.
Look at how tight Nigeria are at the back.
Trustekon. Now, after the injury to Alassane Yusuf, they went for a back three, two holding midfielders, two wing backs. Yeah. So Zaidu Sanusi on the left, Ola Aina on the right, and then three defenders at the back. Frank Onyeka, Alexi will be at the base, which essentially gives the freedom to the front three to go on and then do their bit. So you have Victor Osimhen, Simon Moses, Ademola Lookman sorting the job out there. Now, this is Guinea-Bissau attempting 72nd minute of Nigeria's final group game, right, to get behind the defense. Now, they are knocking the ball around them looking for the space, not because they like the pace at which the game is moving. Often when teams do this, it is because the spaces are not opening up. The movements of the ball are being tracked. So you will see that this young man here, you will see that the players for Guinea-Bissau have all been picked up.
Yeah.
Now, the options that the midfielder has here have all been picked up. The only option he has is a safe pass here. And by the time he makes that pass, there is a player close enough, Ademola Lookman, to track him, cut out the danger even before it happens. So we're going to progress the play and then pay attention to the players, the immediate options that the Equatorial or the Guinea-Bissau players have got and the way the Nigerians react to them. Each player has been picked up. So that obvious pass is made quickly. What do we see here?
Two players.
Ola Aina engages, and he doesn't go alone. He goes there, and then you see Ademola Lookman also joining him, right? So you see two things here. You see the shape and application.
That's right.
So the player spots and under normal circumstance, he could have been well within his right to stay in his zone and not engage, right? Aina could have been well within his right to stay in his zone and not engage because what? This action spot is about 20 or 30 yards from Nigeria's vital area, but he engages.
So they force him to go back.
They force him to go back. And look at what happens here. So about three players quickly close down the space. Now,
so he's forced to go long.
He's forced to go, which was smart. However, what is Nigeria's reaction? Quickly, they close down the option that he has, and then they get into shape again. So you're going to find at each point, movements that responds to what Guinea-Bissau have got, and more importantly, the options that they could essentially pass the ball to.
I mean, look at it in this situation that we're talking about. Look at the number of Guinea-Bissau players here, and none of them has any space at all.
No one has a space, so it's completely crowded. Right? It is completely
And
crowded.
look at the Nigerian defenders. They are connected in ways that are, like, it's fantastic. And that's the application you speak about.
And it's all been coached. Now, in the past, when we talk about overloads and the triangles that teams create, we think of it in the attacking sense and how teams use that when in possession of the ball. So they create overloads and switch play. Nigeria are using this fantastically in the defensive sense. So they are crowding out the areas where they know who they want to pass the ball to.
Yeah.
So they are cutting out the space for those players and ensuring.
So in other words, Nigeria are totally comfortable with Equatorial Guinea passing the ball around this space.
They don't care. They don't care.
Because over here, there is absolutely no danger.
No.
So you can pass the ball around here.
No.
All you want.
In fact, come here. They don't care. That's why, if you check the stats, you realize that Nigeria have the least percentage as far as possession is concerned.
In fact, before at this tournament, the teams that are winning have never dominated possession, except South Africa.
Yes.
Every other team has not.
So Nigeria had the least. Before the Angola match, they had less than 45% of possession. And guess what? Against Angola, they had 45% of ball possession.
All right.
So
shall we look at another video?
Yes, we're going to quickly progress play, and you'd realize that they sort this out. Now, when it feels, what happens? The application again.
Yeah.
Quick, reactive response to it and gets the ball away. Now, let's pay attention to what Nigeria do here. When you have seen the Black Stars play, when you have seen Cameroon play, when they are under pressure, what do? They go long. Egypt, they do same. In fact, Pesero could have told his players that there are 5 players in this area. Get the ball out of the danger zone, because if one player misplaces a pass, Guinea-Bissau could pounce. 73 minutes, this is not the time to take risks. But the manager says no. This is how we get the ball into the opponent's area. And so check out what Nigeria do with the ball. Calmness, movement of the ball to present as options. Ola Aina, Iwobi gives the pass, he dashes. Kenneth Omeru gets the ball calmly. So because Iwobi dashes, he's able to receive the ball. Another of the ball movement to Chukwueze, he's able to receive the pass. And in a matter of seconds, pay attention to the sheer number of Nigerian bodies that have joined the attack to ensure that they have significant numbers to combine with. So they could well lose possession, but they will have the numbers to react. Add these two, because within 3 seconds, you're going to see all of them occupy spaces in the Guinea-Bissau half of the pitch. Yes. So Chukwueze has the ball, he holds it up, and here you see the sea of white players progressing to join them. How many do you count now? 6. 6 actually.
Yeah. 7.
And when we move it on, you will find other players also joining. So this is what has made Nigeria a very good team at this AFCON.
Very well.
But they are not at all invincible. And we're going to show you the other aspect of the game when they've looked vulnerable. And I put vulnerable in quotation marks, and how they've responded to that. So earlier, I spoke about Alex Iwobi.
Yes.
Now, if in the first game, Nigeria completely shut out Equatorial Guinea, because Alassane Youssef is a pure holding midfielder, undiluted. He understands the job. He knows what he has to do. If you introduce Alex Iwobi, he is essentially re-educating himself on the job. So there are going to be instances where the coach wouldn't be there to tell him that track this run. But because he doesn't have the instinct, he will not be able to. So, and that has nearly cost Nigeria against Angola. Right? And this is important because this is the last game that they played. Now, pay attention to how they move the ball. Again, you see one of the nice habits of Nigeria. He knows there is a danger. He moves out of his zone, side to Sanusi, and then cuts out the pass. Now, after winning possession, there is a turnover here, which doesn't particularly go well. Angola decide to attack, and this is where you begin to see the frailty of Iwobi. Iwobi looks completely lost. Now, when Angola get the ball here, Iwobi is supposed to pick up his marker. So he is occupying that space. Pay attention to Alex Iwobi. He's occupying that space, and pay attention to the movements that he makes. Because when the team doesn't have the ball and you are moving to close down a space, or you are moving to pick out an opponent. Now, Iwobi looks lost in this sequence. And if you look at... So we're going to bring that back and show you a zone where Angola are going to pass through. Pay attention to this whole area. Pay attention to this whole area. This is where Iwobi is supposed to be occupying. This is Frank Onyeka, I believe. He cannot be in this area and still be here at the same time. That is why Iwobi should be here. There's Calvin Bassey here, who moves up because he recognizes the danger here to engage. That's because they've been able to short circuit or circumvent Alex Iwobi in 2 phases. So this is the first part. He fails to pick out the run. Now he's been caught in no man's land. And when the pass eventually comes, he doesn't react well.
Interesting.
But even in that situation when the midfield is breached, still, who's there to block that pass? Troost-Ekong again. In the video that we showed you, there were 2 instances where Kenneth Omeru made 2 of those last-ditch tackles when the ball got in behind the midfield.
So again, application.
Awareness
of creation.
Exactly.
Awareness, creating awareness and being
able to respond. And so what,
in the sight of danger.
Yes, what viewers need to understand is this. even for the best of teams, you are not going to control all game state scenarios for 90 minutes. There's going to be that one moment where the player is going to be caught sleeping, right?
And in the case of Nigeria, every time that has happened, the back line
comes to the rescue because of the application and because they anticipate what is good. So in this video that we showed,
so they are covering for the weaknesses of some of their teammates.
So in this video that we showed you, in the very first sequence, Calvin Bassey steps up when he realizes that Iwobi has lost his marker, right? You're going to see that sequence. We'll show you there. He doesn't wait for the danger to happen. He steps up here. Right. And then when the game progresses, and the final pass is actually played into the penalty area, then you see another intervention this time from the defender in Troost-Ekong. Yeah. Friends, let's go back to the final video.
Okay.
Which shouldn't take us too long. And again, from the same game. And this is where Nigeria can be vulnerable. Now, for teams that often sit deep or apply these compact blocks, one of the ways you can get behind them is with pace, dribbling ability, incisive
individual
pass.
skill.
Yes. In this instance, we're going to show you how, with individual dribbling ability, the Angolans got in behind the midfield, but not for too long. Because as we've established, the Nigerians have got an excellent shape and they have players who apply themselves. So mistakes can happen. Players can be caught out of possession, but as always, they will respond. Pay attention to Ola Aina, gets dribbled here, but he recovers fantastically and ensures that the ball doesn't get any further than necessary.
Yes.
Right? So he doesn't stay there. Quickly, he's able to recover.
Yeah.
And the danger recedes for now. But Angola are persistent, so they'll move the ball forward. And here, you see one of the things that has made Angola very good in this tournament. So when they get the ball, there is no messing around.
Look at that.
It's
a brilliant pass. Because
there is no messing around. So before Nigeria can regroup and then get in, and look at this. The Nigerian shape is not at all horrible. So the back line is at rest. However, Angola have the ball in behind the midfield.
Yes.
So you're going to find that the entire space here is occupied by 3 Angolan players.
Yes.
You may decide not to count him, but that would also mean 2 players. And then this young man here, who is being marked by Zaidu Sanusi, is also someone in the equation that they can pass the ball to. Or they could go to the right side and then locate him with the pass. But it all happens because there was a mistake from, I think, Samuel Chikwueze in the past that he wanted to quickly transition play. It didn't work out, and so they lost possession. Angola had the chance to move forward, and they weren't messing around. Quickly, that pass came through.
And that should have been a goal, to be fair.
So if you are going to find the Nigerians in trouble, you probably have to do it wide. Because in central areas, unless they are making a mistake, it's difficult. And we've shown you how they move together, press like a wolf pack when the ball gets too close to the comfort area. But more importantly, is the players' ability to take responsibility and react to the situations. Even when the teammates make mistakes, they will clear the ball. So the Troost-Ekong video, you saw him clapping and asking his teammate to get close. But that was after he had sorted out the danger. And that's what makes the Nigerian team so good at this tournament.
Fantastic. Thank you, Atsu. So brilliant analysis on Nigeria and how they're winning matches in this competition. Basically, key things, the coach showing an ability to adjust to the personnel that he has, adjust his system to the personnel, and the one most important thing is that the players are applying themselves. And Troost-Ekong said after the game that he hopes that the victory and the qualification to the semi-finals has won them a few doubters. It's won a few doubters onto their side. And truly, people like Stone now believe that anything is possible. We had him here. Thankfully, the videos are there. Before the start of the competition, he didn't seem to have any hope. Now he's here shouting and very excited about what is possible for them. All right. You're watching AFCON today live on 99.7 Joy FM as well as on the Joy Prime TV channel. We will take a really short break. When we come back, we will go back onto South Africa and how they qualified and then show you that dramatic game between Cote d'Ivoire and Mali as well. is AFCON today, live on 99.7 Joy FM, as well as on Joy Prime TV channel. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Atsu Tamakloe and Stone Avenue are here with me. Stone Avenue, let's talk about one game. South Africa will now play Nigeria. In the semi-final, South Africa, they had to come through this one in a penalty shootout against a very, very stubborn Cape Verdean side. The game itself was quite... I didn't find it exciting. There were a few chances here and there, but it almost looks like this was a game that could go on for a very long time without either side really winning, and it was only befitting that it took a penalty shootout to decide it.
Yeah, and then you look at South Africa. They have one of the best centre backs at the AFCON, Mvala, and what they have been able to do with their defence is absolutely amazing. And then you look at the goalkeeper, who has progressed. To many people, he's the best goalkeeper at the AFCON right now. Look at the one-on-one chance that Cape Verde had, and the save. I mean, that was absolutely unbelievable. Many people thought it was 1-0, and then all of a sudden he pulls off that save, he hit the bar, all this kind of stuff. But you're talking about the stubborn Cape Verde. Those guys, they will come at you, and they came at South Africa back to back to back.
They never stopped running.
They did not stop running. They kept coming at South Africa. But then when you have one of the best centre backs at the AFCON, you can survive that kind of thing. But then you are also looking at Mokoena, who is in the midfield for South Africa, who can shoot the ball. When it comes to outside shots, when it comes to free kicks, when it comes to dead balls, you should be scared of him. That's going to be a problem right there. And then, of course, you look at Evidence, who all of a sudden has stepped into the role and has become a key man for South Africa, and is someone that they can rely on and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the person that are going to rely on is Williams. Williams is the person they're going to rely on. Because when you're coming up against a Nigerian team like Osimhen and all this kind of, you're going to have chances and all this kind of stuff. But Williams is, like I said, many people see him as the best goalkeeper at the tournament so far. But if you look at what South Africa is doing at this tournament, is the fact that they defend together. It's very important. They defend together, because you cannot be defending against Cape Verde and you defend just with 4 men. They are going to absolutely, score and all this kind of stuff. But South Africa defended together and they were able to attack together. But look at South Africa again. They play also with outside shots. So if you're going to keep them out like Nigeria normally does, then you have to make sure that Mokoena doesn't get the ball, because when he gets the ball, it's shot from outside the box, and that's going to be a problem. Crossing into the box to South Africa are great with that. They agree with dead balls, all kinds of dead balls, free kicks, corner kicks, penalty, all kinds of dead balls. That's what they're great with. And it's going to be an exciting game, because you're looking at a team like Nigeria that doesn't necessarily need the possession to do their damage, and South Africa that needs the possession to do their damage. So it's going to be exciting, because it's going to be an end-to-end kind of thing.
Both teams will get what they want in terms of how they want to play.
South Africa is going to hold the possession, play how they want to play. Nigeria is going to be like, okay, play how you want to play. We want to sit back. They're going to play how they want to play. They're going to get their shots. They're going to get their crosses. They're going to get Evidence involved. They're going to get all those stuff. Everything they want to do, they're going to do it. But the question is, are they going to take their chances? And then Nigeria is going to counter. Is going to play long. Is going to play the small touches in the tight areas. Going to play with Victor Osimhen and all this kind of stuff. Will Mvala stop Osimhen, and will Ekong stop Evidence? Is going to be very interesting.
Atsu, briefly on the goalkeeping, Ronwen Williams, I like what Hugo Bruce said after the game, that saving the 4 penalties wasn't by luck. He got the direction of every single one of the penalties right, even the one that Cape Verde scored. And there's this famous video of him asking the goalkeeper's trainer just before the shootout, that which one is to my left, and the goalkeeper trainer says number 6. And that was the winning penalty he saved. The number 6 shot to his left, and he saved it.
Look, I know I've said on this show before that when it comes to penalties, the takers always have the advantage. And even in this, you could tell that a lot of the penalties were central. And so if they were taken or sent a meter or 2 farther away from him, he probably doesn't get a hand to it. But this guy wasn't guessing, like most goalkeepers.
Clearly, he wasn't guessing.
There are 2 things at play here. He has a very unorthodox approach to penalty kicks, which is to watch where the player is sending the ball and then try to get there before the ball does. The ball moves at a faster rate than the goalkeeper dives. So it is a very big gamble in deciding that I'm going to wait for the player to hit the ball, and then when I see the direction in which the ball is moving, I will dive. There's a mix of that. So he's mixing his knowledge born out of the research into who takes the shots for Cape Verde and in which direction they are likely to go. So you do an aggregate of that, and how frequent they go into which direction. You take the gamble and say, of the 20 penalty kicks that we've seen someone like Baby take, Ryan Mendes, 14 or 15 of those often go to their right. So I'm going to dive to my right. There is that. He has that information at the back of his mind. But while also in the post, Ronwen Williams says, I'm going to pay attention to you. I'm not going to dive. I'm going to wait and hope that when you hit the ball, you're not going to hit it with enough power, and it's not going to go too further away from me. So
that's called shooter dependent. So that's the shooter dependency style.
Yeah.
Depending on the shooter to commit before you dive.
And so, and you know, the main advantage from that is not necessarily that you can guess right and then dive and save it. It's because you can get into the minds of the players. So even when they've scored the first two, but they know the goalkeeper has got his guess right for both occasions. He's probably got a finger to the ball. The third player who's going to take the shot will be caught in two minds, whether to change the direction.
So can the goalkeeping performance alone lead them to AFCON glory? Maybe not, but certainly Ronwen Williams has written his name in the history books of the Africa Cup of Nations, the first player to save 4 penalties in a single tournament. And it's not just at the AFCON, at the FIFA World Cup, at the Copa America. No player has ever done that except Ronwen Williams. So his name in history is etched. Glory to the South African. Let's move it on and talk about the host nation, Cote d'Ivoire, shall we? They left it really, really late. And actually, this was, I'm coming to stone. This was a very dramatic game for all kinds of reasons. But in the end, in this tournament, Cote d'Ivoire truly are the team with 9 lives because they have been on the verge so many times.
And the thing I want to look at is just the changes, the in-game changes that the coach makes.
MS5.
Yeah, you're looking at a guy that was thrown into the fire, literally. We've sacked our coach. We're in knockout stages now. Take us through, and you're gonna face Senegal. So figure yourself out.
Yeah.
Now Senegal is leading 1-0. He makes a change and then it works out. And then he does the same thing. It works out again. And now they are in the semi-finals. And you're looking at the situation whereby this is a team that have literally gone through the fire. So if you're going up against them, they have, first of all, a history of we beat Senegal, we beat Mali, who were 2 favorites to win the trophy. And then now they're coming against them, and now they have maybe 35,000, 30,000, 25,000 people shouting and hailing them and all this kind of supporting them. You are going to have a problem with that because that is the 13th man on the pitch. There's going to be a problem with that. But we have a DR Congo team that is stubborn. And when you're looking at this situation right now, we have Seko Fofana, who is one of the best players at this AFCON, end-to-end, box-to-box. The brother doesn't get tired. And then, of course, the assist to make it 2-1 and all this kind of stuff like that. But at the end of the day, one of the major things that I think that the Cote d'Ivoire coach has to look at is putting Kessie on the bench. Because when he was in the game, and there was no impact. And you look at the fact that when he came on and scored that penalty, it looked like, he was doing something. But it's a penalty he scored. What was the impact on the game? So at the end of the day, you have to look critically at it. You can't bench Sangare and put Kessie in there. Who is the DM? Who is the person that's going to make the tackles? And the Cote d'Ivoire midfield was left wide open many times. And Fofana is not going to stand there making those tackles. He's running end-to-end. He's looking for the ball to run and make all those runs and all those stuff like that. But at the end of the day, this Cote d'Ivoire team, I think that they're going to get over the hump just because they have Fofana and Sangare and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, also because of the 13th man, which is the fans. And I think that they are going to, and of course, they've beaten Senegal, they've beaten Mali. And one thing I want to say about Mali is this, and maybe after I say this, the people from Mali might not like me again, but it's the truth. when the light is brightest, Mali shrink. It is a fact. They did it at the last AFCON. They are doing that. They did it at this AFCON too. When the light is brightest, Mali shrink. They have the best.
They've done it almost
every time. They will have the best crop of young players. They will have people playing the French. They will gather all of them. They will play together. They will do something.
They always cruise through the group stage.
Always are good in the group stage. It's wonderful. Woo! Great. Attack, defense, midfield. They have the balanced team. And then when it matters the most, you won't see the midfield. You won't see the attack, and you won't see the defense. And all of a sudden, they'll go miss a penalty when they're not supposed to miss a penalty. If they didn't miss that penalty, it's 2-0, and maybe they win the match.
It was crazy because it had a one-man advantage, got a penalty on top, scored first, and somehow still ended up losing that game. Very unacceptable. But they have people back home seem to be enjoying whatever happened once they go back home. They were enjoying that. Mentioned just like Guinea-Conakry themselves, who got kicked out by DR Congo, but the fans still loved.
For me, the most beautiful story.
I want to talk about DR Congo, though.
Yeah. Just a word before that.
Yes.
Is the multiculturality of football on the continent. We saw Simon Adingra, trained in Ghana at the Right to Dream Academy, plays for Ivory Coast. Dogeles Nene, an Ivorian who grew up in Mali, chose to represent the country. Even Yves Bissouma as well, another Ivorian playing for Mali. Their national team coach in the past, Emmanuel Adebayo, a Nigerian who just had experience in migrating to Togo as well. Henry Kofi, Burkina Faso. So many of these stories, which makes you wonder just how much talent we could be getting if we liberalize the travel requirements on the continent, especially now that all of these academies are popping up on the continent and players who may not get a chance in their own home country would love to take a chance elsewhere and then see what they can do. Interesting.
So we'll see what happens. Even a very famous Burkinabe striker, what's his name?
Aristide Bansi.
He's Ivorian as well. So, but DR Congo, this was a cruise, probably the best performance we've seen from them. This is the first time they've won a game in regulation time in this tournament. And it was beautiful.
It was. And I think that at some points, all the brilliant football they had played in this tournament was going to pay off. All the chances that they've created. Because you can't possibly be profligate 4 consecutive games in a tournament like this. What also for me was disappointing was that we've seen everything they did against Guinea was not a surprise. But Guinea did not appear to be prepared for the problems that they were good. So Waisa was finding space at will. Masuaku. Every single member of the Congolese team who had been a threat in the 4 previous games was given so much freedom to play. And that for me was a disappointment because I thought that for a high-stakes game like this, Guinea would come in prepared and provisioned with information on how to stop the Congolese team, but it didn't happen. But at the end of the day, you have to credit the Congolese for the consistency and the freedom with which they've played. In a tournament where teams are prioritizing substance over style, it is nice to see one team that can find substance even when they are prioritizing style.
Unbelievable. So now it's DR Congo against Cote d'Ivoire in the semi-finals on Wednesday. Nigeria against South Africa as well. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow on the show as well, we'll look ahead to those 2 matches and as well as on Wednesday. But time now to bring our philosopher onto the screen, Karim. Adamu Beni Abdul Karim, who has decided to go for the who has decided to go for the Professor Luke today. The old Professor Luke.
Today he's
coming to give us.
Today he walked in a straight line to set.
I wore it.
All right, Karim, what have you got for us today? I see Nigeria 1 Angola 0 in your graphic.
Yes. Atsu has done all the dirty work. I just need a true pass from Fentuo to finish it. In this holidays, he's saying that Inra Chelali Yahomi, TC wa Makadongore.
Wait, I can translate what he said.
Okay,
if you're about to get lost in the bush, all the trees become level. That's what that proverb means. Do you know what that means?
That's a brilliant one.
The English version would be, or the closest English version would be, when you raise a pause.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Yes.
It will be the day the monkey is supposed to fall, all the branches of the tree become slippery.
That's it. That's it.
Yes.
That's it. That's
All of them are just giving me the grounds to do what I want to do. So,
Okay.
ahead of the game, a lot of people, including me, we thought that so far up to this point, Nigeria in Angola were going to face the toughest opponent in this competition. But coming up against Nigeria, every good thing Angola were doing before facing Nigeria, when they faced Nigeria, everything just got lost. They forgot everything they were doing and progressing up to this point. They were not this poor in finishing. They even forgot that they were not supposed to have the highest possession in the game to win. Look at the possession. Before the game, I said on Friday that this was going to be a counter-attacking game because of the teams left in the competition. Nigeria had the least average possession, 44. And they were the second highest when it came to shooting from fast breaks. It's the same for Angola, who were second with the second least average possession with the teams left in the competition, 45. And they were also...
So there were two similar teams coming up against each other.
They had the highest fast break shots with the teams left, 5, and Nigeria were doing 4. And coming into the game, I said it that this game, whoever is going to win it was the one going to utilize their fast breaks. And Nigeria, their goal was just from that.
Yeah.
Ikong won the possession at the right side of Nigeria's defense, found Onyeka to Iwobi. Then Iwobi switched the ball from the right side of Nigeria's defense to the left side of the midfield. And the rest, Zaidu Sanusi gave it to Moses, and he did all the work for this guy to finish. Ademola Lookman. So this is the possession momentum graphic. Now, this is for Angola. The red is for Angola. And the blue, or is it green, is for Nigeria.
Nigeria had a lot of the momentum.
Nigeria had a lot of the momentum.
Even though they had the least possession.
Yes, they had the least possession. It means that the possession Angola had, they were not making any good use of it. Yeah. It was just noisy possession, as it will be termed. And let's go to the next graphic. That is where I want to compare the key player coming into this game. Before this game, he was the player with the most key passes, 8 in the tournament. And coming into this game, he couldn't even attempt a single shot on target.
That's what Stone said earlier.
I told you, 0 shot. He has 0 shot.
And of all players to attempt 8 shots in the competition, he was the player with the second best conversion rate. He attempted 8 shots and scored 4 goals. But
before the game against Nigeria.
Yes, and this game he couldn't.
This was a total shutout.
Yes, it's total shutdown, and this is because of the fantastic performance of Ola Aina. Let's go to the next graphic.
And just to add one thing, the only time this has happened was against Algeria, where Algeria shot him out too.
Yes. Algeria and Burkina Faso. Yeah. So this is Ola Aina faced him in that right side of the attack, and he won 3 out of the 4 tackles he attempted. This is just coming to explain why Gelson Dalla has that poor game against Nigeria. Interceptions, he's won. That is the 3rd best in the game. 1 duels, the 3rd most in that game. Ola Aina having a good game was good for Nigeria, and Gelson Dalla having a poor game was because of how fantastic Ola Aina has played.
Interesting. So Ola Aina's greatest day was Gelson Dalla's worst day. It's only right that it happens like that. Anyway, so congratulations to Nigeria, DR Congo, of course, also Cote d'Ivoire and South Africa. The 4 countries standing now at the Africa Cup of Nations. Those 4 will be in action on Wednesday, and we'll be here to bring it to you, of course. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of AFCON Today. My name is Fentuo, Tahir Fentuo. Show proudly sponsored by MTN, Stone Avenue, and Atsu Tamakloe were my guests. Until then, do take care of yourself, and bye-bye.